protection of all merciful Vaishnava, the conditioned soul cannot get out of the clutches of Maya. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Manashashtra Indriyani Prakritisthani Karshati. Living entity begins material life with his mind and the 5 knowledge-acquiring senses, and with these he struggles for the existence within the material world. These senses are compared to rogues and thieves within the forest. They take away a man's knowledge and place him in a network of nescience. Thus, the senses are like rogues and thieves that plunder his spiritual knowledge. Over and above this, there are family members, wife, and children who are exactly like ferocious animals in the forest. The business of such ferocious animals is to eat a man's flesh. The living entity allows himself to be attacked by jackals and foxes, wife and children. And thus his real spiritual life is finished. In the forest of material life, everyone is envious like mosquitoes and rats and mice are always creating disturbances. Everyone in this material world is placed in many awkward positions and surrounded by envious people and disturbing animals. The result is that the living entity in the material world is always plundered and bitten by many living entities. Nonetheless, despite these disturbances, he does not want to give up his family life, and he continues his fruitive activities in an attempt to become happy in the future. He thus becomes more and more entangled in the results of karma, and he is forced to act impiously. His witnesses are the sun during the day and moon during the night. The demigods also witness, but the conditioned soul thinks that his attempts at sense gratification are not being witnessed by anyone. Sometimes when he is detected, he temporarily renounces everything, but due to his great attachment for the body, his renunciation is given up before he can attain perfection. In the material world, there are many envious people. There is a tax in exacting government, which is compared to an owl, and there are invisible crickets that create unbearable sounds. The conditioned soul is certainly greatly harassed by the agents of the material nature, but his intelligence is lost due to undesirable association. In an attempt to gain relief from the disturbances of material existence, he falls victim to so-called yogis, sadhus, and incarnations, who can display some magic but who do not understand devotional service. Sometimes the conditioned soul is bereft of all money and consequently he becomes unkind to his family members. In this material world, there is no pinch of actual happiness for which the conditioned soul is longing life after life. The government officials are like carnivorous rakshasas who exact heavy taxes for the maintenance of the government. The hard-working conditioned soul is very saddened due to these heavy taxes. The path of fruitive activities lead to difficult mountains, and sometimes the conditioned soul wants to cross these mountains, but he is never successful, and consequently he becomes more and more aggrieved and disappointed. Becoming materially and financially embarrassed, the conditioned soul unnecessarily chastises his family. In the material condition, there are 4 principal needs, out of which sleep is compared to a python. When asleep, the conditioned soul completely forgets his real existence. And in sleep, he does not feel the tribulations of material life. Sometimes, being in need of money, the conditioned soul steals and cheats, although he may apparently be associated with devotees for spiritual advancement. His only business is getting out of the clutches of Maya, but due to improper guidance, he becomes more and more entangled in material dealings. This material world is simply an embarrassment and is composed of tribulations presented as happiness, distress, attachment, enmity, and envy. On the whole, it is simply full of tribulation and misery. When a person loses his intelligence due to attachment to wife and sex, his entire consciousness becomes polluted. He thus only thinks of the association of women. The time factor, which is like a serpent, takes away everyone's life, including that of Lord Brahma and the insignificant ant. Sometimes the conditioned soul tries to save himself from inexorable time and thus takes shelter of some bogus savior. Unfortunately, the bogus savior cannot even save himself. How then can he protect others? The bogus saviors do not care for bona fide knowledge received from qualified Brahmanas and Vedic sources. Their only business is indulging in sex and recommending sexual freedom even for widows. Thus, they are like monkeys in the forest. Srila Sukadev Goswami thus explains the material forest and its difficult path to Maharaj Parikshit. Okay, I can have like maybe 2 or 3 devotees read the verse. So maybe 2 or 3 of you, if one wants to read, can raise your hand. I think that's enough. So Madhumay Krishnakant Mataji and then Chitra Mohini Mataji. Go ahead, please.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। सहोवाच य एष देहात्ममानिनां सत्त्वादिगुणविशेषविकल्पिता कुशलसमवहारविनिर्मिता विविधदेहावलिभिर्योगसंयोगाद्यनादि संसारानुभवस्य द्वारा भूतेन षडिन्द्रियवर्गेण तस्मिन् दुर्गाध्ववद सुगमे अध्वन्यापतित ईश्वरस्य भगवतो विष्णोर्वशवतिर्न्या मायया जीवलोको अयं यथा वणिक्सार्थो अर्थपरः स्वदेह निष्पादित कर्मानुभवः श्मशानदशिववत मायां संसार अटव्यां गतो नाद्यापि विफलबहु प्रतियोगे तत्ताप उपशमनीं हरिगुरुचरणारविन्द मधुकरानुभव पदवीम् अवरुरुन्धे। थैंक यू माताजी। हरे कृष्ण।
Chitra Mohini Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। स उवाच य एषा देहात्ममानिनां सत्त्वादिगुणविशेषविकल्पितकुशला अकुशलसमबहारा विनिर्मितविविधा देहावलिम्बिर्व योगाद्यनादि संसारानुभवस्य द्वारा भूतेन षडिन्द्रिये वर्गेण तस्मिन् दुर्गाद्ववद सुगमे अधन्यपतित ईश्वरस्य भगवतो विष्णोर्वशावर्तिन्या मायया जीवलोकोऽयं यथा वर्णी सर्तो अर्थपरः स्वदेह निष्पादित कर्मानुभवः श्मशान वद शिवतमायां संसाराट्यव्यां गतो नाद्यापि विफलबहु प्रतियोगास्ततापोपशमनीं हरिगुरुचरणारविन्द मधुकरानुपदवे अवरुन्धे। हरे कृष्ण माताजी। थैंक यू माताजी।
Thank you, Krishna. Okay, Venkat Narasimha Prabhuji, you will be the last speaker.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी। स होवाच स हेष देहात्ममानिनां सत्त्वादिगुणविशेषविकल्पित कुशलाकुशल समवहार विनिर्मित विशेष विविध देहावलिभिः अयोग संयोग अनादि संसारानुभवस्य द्वारभूतेन षड्रिन्द्रिय वर्गेण तस्मिन् दुर्गा अद्ववत् असुगमे अध्वान्यापतित ईश्वरस्य भगवतो विष्णोर्वश वर्तिन्या मायया जीवलोकोऽयं यथा वणिक्षार्धो अर्धपरः स्वदेह निष्पादित कर्मानुभवः श्मशानवद असिवता मायां संसार अट्वां गतो नाद्यापि विफलबहु प्रतियोगे हस्त तपोपशमनीं हरिगुरु चरणारविन्द मधुकरानुपदवी अरुन्धे। हरे कृष्ण माता।
Thank you. Okay, I'll go to the meanings. Shubhara Prabhuji, I think for the benefit of time, we'll please go forward. Saha, the self-realized devotee, Sri Sukdev Goswami. Ha, indeed, Uvach spoke. Saha, the conditioned soul. Esha, this one. Deha Atma Maninam, of those who foolishly take the body to be the self. Sattva Adi, of Sattva, Raja and Tama. Guna, by the modes. Vishesha, particular. Vikalpita, falsely constituted. Kushal, sometimes by favorable action, akushal, sometimes by very unfavorable actions, samavahar, by a mixture of both, vinirmit, obtained, vivid, various types, deha avalabhi, by the series of bodies, viyoga samyoga adi, symptomized by giving up one type of body, viyog, and accepting another body, another, samyog. Anadi sansar anubhavasya, of the perception of the beginningless process of transmigration. Dwara bhutena, existing as the doorways. Sat indriya vargena, by these six senses, the mind and five knowledge acquiring senses, namely the eyes, ears, tongue, nose, and skin. Tasmin, on that, Durga advat vat, like a path that is very difficult to traverse. Asugame, being difficult to pass through. Advani, on a path in the forest. Apitah, apatitaha, happened. Ishwarasya, of the controller. Bhagavataha, the supreme personality of Godhead. Vishnoho, of Lord Vishnu. Vashavartinya, acting under the control. Mayaya, by the material energy. Jiva Lokaha, the conditioned living entity. I am this, yataha, exactly, like Vanik, a merchant. Sa Artha, having an object. Artha Paraha, who is very attached to money. Swadeha Nishpadita, performed by his own body. Karma, the fruits of activities. Anubhav, who experiences. Sanshan Vat Ashish Ashivata Mayam, like an inauspicious cemetery or place of burial. Sansar Atavyam, in the forest of material life. Kata, having entered. Na, not Adyapi, until now. Vifal, unsuccessful. Bahu Pratiyoga, of full of great difficulties and varieties of miserable conditions. Iha, those activities, whose activities here in the material world. Tat tap upasa manim, which pacifies the miseries of the forest of material life. Hari Guru Charan Arvind, to the lotus feet of the Lord and his devotee. Madhukar Anupadavim, the road followed in pursuance of devotees who are attached like bumblebees. Avarundhe, gain. Translation by His Divine Grace Shabbat Ki Jai. When King Parikshit asked Sukdev Goswami about the direct meaning of the material forest, Sukdev Goswami replied as follows. My dear king, a man belonging to the mercantile community, Vanik, is always interested in earning money. Sometimes he enters the forest to acquire some cheap commodities like wood and earth and sell them in the city at good prices. Similarly, the conditioned soul, being greedy, enters this material world for some material profit. Gradually, he enters the deepest part of the forest, not really knowing how to get out. Having entered the material world, the pure soul becomes conditioned by the material atmosphere, which is created by the external energy under the control of Lord Vishnu. Thus, the living entity comes under the control of the external energy, Devi Maya. Living independently and bewildered in the forest, he does not attain the association of devotees who are always engaged in the service of the Lord. Once in the bodily conception, he gets different types of bodies, one after the other, under the influence of material energy and impelled by the modes of material nature, Sattvagun, Rajagun, and Tamagun. In this way, the conditioned soul sometimes goes to the heavenly planet, sometimes to the earthly planet, and sometimes to the lower planets and lower species. Thus, he suffers continuously due to different types of bodies. These sufferings and pains are sometimes mixed. Sometimes they are very severe and sometimes they are not. These bodily conditions are acquired due to conditioned soul's mental speculation. He uses his mind and five senses to acquire knowledge, and these bring about the different bodies and different conditions. Using the senses under the control of the external energy, Maya, the living entity, suffers the miserable conditions of life, of material existence. He is actually searching for relief, but he is generally baffled, although sometimes he is relieved after great difficulty. Struggling for existence in this way, he cannot get shelter of the pure devotees who are like bumblebees engaged in the loving service at the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. Purport by His Divine Grace Prabhupada Ki Jai. The most important information in this verse is Hari Guru Charan Aravinda Madhukar Anupadavim. In this material world, the conditioned souls are baffled by their activities, and sometimes they are relieved after great difficulty. On the whole, conditioned soul is never happy. He simply struggles for existence. Actually, his only business is to accept the spiritual master, the Guru, and through him he must accept the lotus feet of the Lord, or the Lord, of the Lord, it should be. This is explained by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. People struggling for existence in the forest or cities of the material world are not actually enjoying life. They're simply suffering different pains and pleasures, generally pains that are always inauspicious. They try to gain release from these pains, but they cannot due to ignorance. For them, it is stated in the Vedas, Tad Vijnanartham Sa Gurum Eva Vigachet. When the living entity is lost in the forest of material world, in the struggle for existence, his first business is to find a bona fide guru who is always engaged at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. After all, if he is at all eager to be relieved of the struggle for existence, he must find a bona fide guru and take instructions at his lotus feet. In this way, he can get out of the struggle. Since the material world is compared here into a forest, it may be argued that in Kali Yuga, modern civilization is mainly situated in the cities. A great city, however, is like a great forest. Actually, city life is more dangerous than the life in the forest. If one enters an unknown city without friend or shelter, living in that city is more difficult than living in a forest. That's true, right? That's true, right? You enter a city where you don't know anyone. It's more difficult to live there. Yeah, is that true? What do you think? It's living
Yes, Mataji. Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Mataji. Yes.
Prabhupada, it's true, right? It's so nice. It's actually living in the city is more dangerous than life in the forest. If one enters an there are many big cities all over the surface of the globe, and wherever one looks, he sees the struggle for existence going on 24 hours a day. People rush about in cars going 70 and 80 miles an hour, constantly coming and going. And this sets the scene of the great struggle for existence. One has to rise early in the morning and travel in the car at breakneck speed. There is always danger of an accident, and one has to take great care. In his automobile, the living entity is full of anxieties, and his struggle is not at all auspicious. Apart from human beings, other species like cats and dogs are also struggling very hard, day and night for existence. Thus, the struggle for existence continues, and the conditioned soul changes from one position to another. For a while, he is a child, but he has to become a boy. From boy, he has to change into youth, from youth to manhood and old age. Finally, when the body is no longer workable, he has to accept a new body in a different species. Giving up the body is called death, and accepting another body is called birth. Human form is an opportunity to take shelter of the bona fide spiritual master, and through him, the Supreme Lord. This Krishna consciousness movement has been started to give an opportunity to all the members of human society who are misled by foolish leaders. No one can get out of this struggle for existence, which is full of miseries, without accepting a pure devotee of the Lord. The material attempt changes from one position to another, and no one actually gains relief from the struggle for existence. The only resort is the lotus feet of a bona fide spiritual master, and through him, the lotus feet of the Lord. I think people who are not initiated, do you feel like taking initiation right away? I think Prabhupada has given a very, very strong verdict here. Well, let's discuss for a few minutes. Om Agyan Timirandasya Jnananjan Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahiyam Dadati Swabhadantikam. Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Deenbandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Namastute. Apte Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishpanuste Devi Pranamami Haripriya. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्तवृंदा. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. नमामि विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामने. नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे. All right, so this is, I'll not read the translation, I think it's very big, but we got the verdict that Parikshit Maharaj is now speaking, Sukdev Goswami is now speaking to Parikshit Maharaj on his request to actually explain the direct meaning of the allegory that Jad Bharat was reciting to Maharaj Rahugan, so that less intelligent people can also understand what does this allegory really mean. So he starts by telling who is a conditioned soul and what is this material world compared to, and what is the relationship between conditioned soul and this forest of enjoyment. And if we look at this puppet, you see, we have one vision of our life. The society gives us another vision of our life, like visionary, right? People who are successful are visionary. Yeah, you have heard of this? People who are successful are like visionary. They have a vision. It's not that they have lost sight of their vision. They are here and where they want to be. But that's like a very big like success model in business world. That what's your vision 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? So what I'm trying to say is that the society gives us a vision, our mind gives us a vision, our knowledge acquiring senses give us a vision, but Shastras give us the ultimate vision. Because whatever vision we are making for ourselves based on our own understanding of our life, or taking experience from others, from sharing their experience of their life, is only two-dimensional, right? X-axis and Y-axis. But Krishna is in what axis? What is Krishna called as? We discussed this. What is he called as?
Turiya, four dimension.
Fourth dimension. It's like Turiya, right? It's like beyond. So if we want to go from one platform to another platform to another platform, it will always be in two dimension. Either you can go up or you can go down. There's no other like, or you can stay in the earth. So the two dimension, right? Up, down, or stay on the earth. So, but Krishna is beyond. Like you have to like lift yourself up, and then Krishna is there. We cannot. So our vision is so narrow. But we say, okay, I'm so wise, or that person is so wise. I'm not saying that disrespect yourself or disrespect someone else for who they are, but I'm saying that don't be entangled in a tunnel vision, because Guru, Shastras give us the final vision that this material world is a horrible place. Like we like try to decorate this place very nicely. Like we try to like decorate ourselves very nicely. We try to have festivals, we try to have relations, we try to have, very nice dwellings, we try to have places to visit, and so and histories to study about. But the Shastras are saying it's a horrible place, because this place is meant for punishment for a person who has gone against Krishna. So can you make a jail very nice at any point for any person who is jailed or a prisoner? Can you make that? Is it a good
No, Mataji.
Is it like a very intelligent thing to encourage a prisoner to stay in the jail because you can make it very nice? You can do it. You can do it. You can make it very nice. Is it a very intelligent thing?
No,
No,
Mataji.
So what is the intelligent thing?
Intelligence is to get out from the jail.
Okay.
Get out of the jail.
Yeah, but how? Run away? Or what do you do to get out of the jail?
Make ourselves
And surrender into
Guru
Shastras, Guru Sadhu Shastra.
अरे प्रिजन से बाहर कैसे निकलोगे? कोई जेल में बंद है, उसको कैसे बोलोगे बाहर कैसे आओ? भाग के आओ? या what do you do?
improve their behavior and
Yeah,
do
right? Like rectify the mistake and come out of the jail in become a person of character. Don't lose your character and qualities over something lower and then come back to the jail. So it is very easy for us to visually see somebody else who's in the jail, but we don't see that I'm also in a jail. Okay, this place is designed like that. It's a forest of material enjoyment, and it is so thickly, so thickly dense, so dense that I have actually lost sight at how do I get out of this place. And then, okay, and the desire is also not there to get out, because I can make this place very nice. But this is all illusion. I was listening to Prabhupada lecture while coming from work right now, and Prabhupada was talking. I think it was first canto Bhagavatam, 5th chapter, verse 23. Pura atita bhave abhavam. Prabhupada was explaining that Narad Muni was able to see past, present, future, right? Because of his being in Krishna consciousness, his being in spiritual life. So if we want to get out of the jail, the solution is what? There's only one solution. There are not many solutions. There are many ways to get in here. There are many ways to stay here, but there's only one way to get out of here. What is that way? What is written in this verse? Am I audible?
To take the shelter of Guru.
To take the shelter of a bona fide Guru. And who is the bona fide Guru? Who is always engaged at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. Okay, otherwise the struggle for material existence will continue. It's like that, there's no other way. The Shastras are very clear. But if we take it, then in this way he can get out of the struggle. First, we have to become fully convinced that I am struggling. I need help. I am struggling. I don't want to die, but I will die. I don't want to grow old, but I will grow old. I don't want to get disease, but I will have a disease. It's like forced, like shoved down my throat that I have to go through all this. I'm struggling. I want relief. Prabhupada writer that the conditioned soul is actually looking for relief, but is not going to get relief. Why? Because we are not accepting the lotus feet of a spiritual master. What does it mean to accept the lotus feet of a spiritual master? Is to inquire humbly and to serve and to carry out the order of the spiritual master, even at the cost of self-discomfort. Who said that the growth is in the comfort zone? We discussed it. The growth is always out of the comfort zone. Spiritual master can actually put a stop at that struggle if we follow the instructions and make those instructions our life and soul, no matter at what cost it comes. It is going to cost us. Right? Taking sannyas is a painstaking situation. Prabhupada had to leave his family. But his guru said it. He did it. But then he said, later I realized that my spiritual master was giving me such a big family. There's such a big family. People think if I become sannyasi, I will be left alone. Prabhupada had hardly any time alone, always surrounded by so many devotees. And the example is often given in modern world of Jayapataka Maharaj, right? Jayapataka Maharaj was told by Prabhupada to accept certain number of disciples across the world. Like I think he was given the maximum number of disciples to accept all over the world. He's a sannyasi. A sannyasi has no bank account. Sannyasi has no connection with the material world. But we never see him alone. Because of the sense of gratitude of a conditioned soul is like we become attracted to a pure devotee. And the pure devotee, Prabhupada was explaining, I was listening, that taking shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, means taking shelter of all of his 6 opulences. All of his 6 opulences come and give us shelter. Otherwise, we are alone. The struggle is alone. But to get out of the struggle, we need the devotees, we need the Shastras, we need the spiritual master, we need the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we will not be alone because that's how this material world is designed. It come out. You see, the government makes a jail, but also makes so many programs for the prisoners to actually rectify their mistake. Yeah? They do that? Yeah or no?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes?
Yes, Mataji.
And so they actually do that. They actually make the program so that the government doesn't want its citizens to be rogues and thieves. Like that, Krishna doesn't want us to be suffering here. So he gives a lot of arrangement, but the thing is we are not taking it. We like to struggle because we have normalized the struggle because everybody is struggling. So what is the definition of a normal value? The normal value is if at a given point of place, everybody is doing the same thing. So it becomes normal. But that's not normal. It is absolutely abnormal if we look at our life from Krishna's perspective or from the eyes of Sukdev Goswami. My life is not normal. My life is normal with Krishna. I'm not supposed to die. I'm not supposed to grow old. I'm not supposed to suffer. I'm not supposed to struggle, but I do because I'm not with Krishna. So what is it? Go to Krishna. Go to Krishna. How? By the medium of this bona fide spiritual master. Human life is the only life where we get this opportunity. So we are very fortunate. But if we don't take advantage, despite of knowing what we can do with this life, we become most unfortunate. Okay, I think this chapter is very heavy anyway. So every day we'll be reading a very heavy topic, but just understand that the definition of normal is what is the definition of normal and what is the definition of abnormal. And also in this human form of life, if I can get a bona fide spiritual master and association of the devotees who are like-minded, my life can actually become very, very auspicious. Otherwise, it is always inauspicious. I was asking some parents that why do they want their kids to go to Ivy League schools? You know what is the most common answer I got? If I ask this question here, it's connected. Why would you want your child to go to a Ivy League university? Why can't they go to like some state university? Why they want you to go to the topmost universities of the world? Tell me what will be the most common reason? So why would you want your kid to go to
Mataji,
Harvard?
I will do it, Mataji. I will do it.
Huh?
I will do it.